You're a photographer, so you're also a marketer, an accountant, and a salesperson. You're a designer, a web developer, and social media manager, a shopper, a shipper, and a customer support department. You're also a husband, a wife, a mom, a dad, which makes you about a million other things. But don't worry, you've got this. With ShootProof, you can send your clients their digital contract, create an invoice for them to pay, take your beautiful photos, upload them to ShootProof from Lightroom or from your desktop while you eat dinner. Rest assured, your marketing is handled with automated emails to your clients. They ooh, they ah, they cry a little. They favorite hundreds of images and purchase digitals as well as prints and canvases filled automatically by your favorite lab. You send your clients a mobile app as a thank you, and they share it with all of their friends. Wake up tomorrow, and your day is already a little brighter. It's time to focus on what matters most, and let ShootProof do the rest.
Hi, I'm Denise with Appleseed Photography, and I am super excited and honored to be a judge for the image competition with the APNPI. A few little words of encouragement. Every single one of us judges were new at one point. Whether you're new or seasoned, it doesn't matter. Enter your photos, no matter your skill level, no matter how long you've been in this industry. It's also not about winning, it's about the journey and how, just the process and being part of something. It's not as scary as it feels like. Just do it. Just close your eyes, click, and do it, okay? So I hope to see you all there, and yeah, thank you, and see you all there.
Hey everyone, I'm Jennifer Gilbert and I am a professional photographer based in just north of Toronto in Canada, and I am a nationally trained judge with the Professional Photographers of Canada as well. I'm very excited to be judging the APNPI fall competition, and I have one tip for you today, which is basically just to make sure you're submitting the best of your best. A tip that was told to me many years ago is to actually turn your image upside down and look for any glaring technical errors. Sometimes a different perspective can make things jump out at you. Another tip that I have is also just to make sure that your skin tones are correct. Make sure they're not overexposed, underexposed, they're not overly orange or overly green, and that basically they are the tone that they should be. I wish everybody the best of luck, and remember, this is a learning process as well, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the fantastic images.
Hi everyone, I'm Tiana from Tiana J. Williams Photography, all the way in the UK, and I'm so excited to be a judge for the APNPI Autumn Image Competition. I wanted to share a tip with everybody, and that if you are considering entering, it's really important to think about more than just the lighting, the styling, the posing, but consider the storytelling, the execution of the image, if there are things and elements in there that are to draw our eye, that help form the basis of the purpose of the image, what you want it to say. This is really important, and it helps you stand out from the rest, and it gives us the belief that there was intention. And I think that's a really, really important factor when it comes to image competitions. So please do enter. Use the opportunity before the deadline to go through your images and see which ones stand out best and show your skill and talent as a photographer. Looking forward to seeing your images. Take care.
Hello and welcome to the Fall APNPI International Image Competition Judging event. Today we have Stephanie Robin of APNPI as Chair of Judging, and we also have 4 judges. The judges today will be Denise Jackson. Denise is from Appleseed Photography, and she is in Airdrie, Alberta. She's been a newborn photographer for over 12 years. The next judge we have joining us today is Tiana Grayson from Tiana J. Williams Photography, which is based in England, UK. Tiana is a Nikon creator, past judge, and previous APNPI winner. Also joining us is Jennifer Gilbert, MPA from Jennifer Gilbert Photography in Tottenham, Ontario. She's a certified judge with the Professional Photographers of Canada. On day 2 of the event, we will have Tamarind from Azure Photography in Guelph. Today, we have myself, Jen McNeil of Jennifer McNeil Photography. I am based in Orange County, California, a newborn maternity and family photographer. I'm an educator on newborn wrapping with APNPI and a previous image competition award winner. And I will be an interim judge for today, and I'm also shadowing at the chair position. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started with our image competition judging. Go ahead, Stephanie.
Okay, moving to our first image. This image is titled Little Dolly, and our judges can enter their scores now. All right, and with scores of 78, 85, and 82, this image will have an overall score of 82, placing it in the silver category. Congrats to this maker. All right, moving to our next image, titled From Her Womb to the World. And with scores of 80, 87, and 80, this image will have an overall score of 82, placing it in the silver category. Congrats to the maker. We'll move now to our next image, titled Grandma's Chair. And judges, please feel free to enter your scores. And with scores of 82, 85, and 77, this image will have an overall score of 81, placing it in the silver category. And congrats to that maker. Titled Catching Childhood. And with scores of 77, 79, and 78, this image will have an overall score of 78. Our next image is titled Sleeping Beauty.
Done.
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 Thank you. And with scores of 78, 79, and 75, this image will have an overall score of 77. Our next image is titled Editorial.
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 85, 77, and 73, this image has an overall score of 78. We do have greater than a 10-point spread here. And so we will speak first in the benefit of the maker, and I will hand off to Tiana for that.
Thank you. It's really lovely to see a little bit more creativity in maternity images, kind of away from the usual gowns and dresses. I really like the lighting that's been used. The pose is nice and relaxed. Again, it's just really different, and I found that quite refreshing. I thought the lighting was handled fairly well. I like the pose, it's very powerful, which goes with the styling. So I think there's lots to enjoy about this image.
Thank you, Tiana, and we will head to Jennifer, please, for critique.
Thank you. I agree with Tiana. It is a very creative image. What is pulling it back for me is the very strong highlight on the hand that is touching her cheek. My eye went directly there, and it's very overpowering. As I look more at the image, her other hand just falls into darkness. There's very little detail there. There's muddiness all through the shadows. There's also some very bright spots along the breast area, which could be toned down. And but other than that, I agree with what Tiana said.
Thank you, Jennifer. We'll head back for rebuttal, please, to Tiana.
Thank you. I totally see what you mean. I do think they weren't handled, I think they were handled well. Yes, there could have been some improvements. But again, I still think the elements that I pointed out were stronger than kind of the faults within the image. Yeah, highlights could be handled a little better, but I think there's so much more to enjoy. And for me, that wasn't as strong of a reason to come down into the category below.
Thank you. And at this time, we will rescore this image.
Okay.
Done.
Done.
And done.
Thank you. And with scores of 85, 77, and 73, this image will have an overall score of 78. Um, all right. Moving to our next image, titled I See You.
Done.
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 Thank you. And with scores of 79, 81, and 77, this image will have an overall score of 79. Our next image is titled Fierce.
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 82, 86, and 84, this image will have an overall score of 84, placing it in the silver category. Our next image is titled Joy in Bloom.
Done.
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 Thank you. Tiana, can I ask you to please click the saved prompt?
Yes, sorry about that.
That's okay. And with scores of 80, 79, and 75, this image will have an overall score of 78. Our next image is titled Lady in Red.
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 77, 75, and 75, this image will have an overall score of 76. Titled Self-Portrait of Motherhood.
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 78, 77, and 77, this image will have an overall score of 77. We do have a paid critique on this image. So we will head to Tiana first, please, for critique for the maker.
Thank you. I think it's a really beautiful image, and there's so much love that you can see and enjoy, which is wonderful because I think that's a really strong element for maternity photography. What I really like is the softness with the lighting. And I think for improvements with this image, there's a couple of things that stand out to me really. I'll just mention a few. One of them is for me the camera angle. I think if the camera angle was just a little bit lower, it would enable the subject in the image to appear kind of taller, more elongated. And it just kind of gives that feeling that we're not sort of looking down on her, rather looking up, which I think lends to a stronger image. The other thing I'd like to mention is just that her hair is just coming across her face, and you can really see where those kind of fine strands of hair cut across her eye and her cheek, so you don't get to enjoy her face that much. And so for future reference, it would just be to kind of make sure that those little bits of hair are just shifted out of the way ever so slightly so that we can see her face and enjoy more of her expression. But otherwise, I think there's so much to really love about this. So well done.
Thank you, Tiana. Let's head to Denise, please.
At a first glance, I just find it absolutely gorgeous. I love that you see the silhouette underneath the dress with the pose, and the toe is perfectly pointed. My critique though would be to keep an eye on making sure that that leg, the skin tone is matching the rest, as it looks a little bit cool, maybe a little purple, which is normal, especially in pregnancy. But I do agree with everything Tiana said as well.
Thank you, and we'll head to Jennifer.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a beautiful image, and I can see how much love is going on here for sure. I agree with the skin tone. I think that I know this is a backlit image, but having some fill light will help with improving the skin tones to make it that more creamy look. There is a lot of muddiness in the lower leg and also as well as the arm facing us. As well, I'm just noticing like along the curtain on the bottom, there seems to be, I don't know if it's hair or there's something going on down there. And just with the draping that's coming down is completely cut off at the bottom there. So you just make sure you want to give some room there so that we can see all of the elements of the clothing.
Thank you, Jennifer. Some great feedback for this maker. Moving to our next image, titled Stunning Maternity Vibes.
Done.
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 Thank you. And with scores of 80, 79, and 85, this image will have an overall score of 81, placing it in the silver category. Titled Unstoppable Love.
Done.
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 Thank you. And with scores of 77, 77, and 78, this image will have an overall score of 77. Titled, Who's She Talking to?
Done.
Done.
Sorry, was that all three?
I think so.
Okay. And with scores of 78, 84, and 90, this image will have an overall score of 84, placing it in the silver category. We do have a greater than 10-point spread here. So we will go to Jennifer, please, in the benefit of the maker.
Thank you. This is such a lovely image, and to the maker, great job. There's a beautiful story here, and the story of using old technology in this new era of technology that we're in. Just really enjoying that. Beyond that, technically, everything is very well done. The lighting is wonderfully handled. There's the highlights and the shadows are all just wonderful. The expression on her face is beautiful. And yeah, I'm not seeing a lot that really brings this image down.
Thank you, Jennifer. And we will head for critique, please, to Tiana.
Thank you. I do agree. There's a lot to like about this image. I guess for me, I struggled with the kind of the story, connecting the title to the image, and it could be the way that I read it. I think for me, I was maybe expecting something a little bit more kind of playful and cheeky. And the impact just wasn't there for me. Technically, very well handled. I'm not sure. I think there's not much detail where that kind of telephone is in the corner. So it just feels really blocky, that side. I feel like there could be a little bit more room in the image personally. Um, However, for the other reasons mentioned, the lighting, the skin tone's lovely. Yeah, I think it's well done, but I just struggled with the kind of story on this occasion.
Thank you, Tiana. And we will head back to Jennifer for rebuttal.
Yeah, I see this story here completely because it's who's she talking to? She's using this old phone that doesn't work anymore. So really, who is she talking to? And that is the story there. And yeah, it to me it completely fits. Like I mentioned, the sort of, old world technology, but we're in the age of smartphones and yeah. So again, and just as I mentioned, everything else, I am seeing lots of detail in the phone. I'm not seeing any loss of detail in the shadows. You can even see some of the numbers on the dial. You can't see them all, but that's just the angle of the phone. And yeah, everything just works for this image.
Thank you. We will rescore this image at this time.
Yep, done.
Done.
I refreshed and I don't remember my score. Can you tell me what it was? Because I don't want to change it.
Previously, the scores were 78, 84,
84. Yeah.
90.
Okay. That's what I thought, but I just want to double check. Thank you. Done.
Thank you. And we have scores of 80, 84, and 90, placing or giving the overall average of 85, which places this image in the silver distinction category. Congratulations to this maker. And thank you for the successful challenge, ladies. Moving to our next image titled All My Love.
Done.
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 Thank you. And with scores of 75, 84, and 78, this image will have an overall score of 79. Our next image is titled Fiercely Feminine.
Done.
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 Thank you. And with scores of 74, 74, and 72, this image will have an overall score of 73. Titled Anticipation and Strength.
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 76, 74, and 75, this image will have a total score of 75. Titled IVF Warrior.
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 77, 76, and 74, this image will have an overall score of 76. Titled Lavender Nest.
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 78, 76, and 72, this image will have an overall score of 75. This image is also a paid critique. Let's head to Denise, please, for feedback for this maker.
Oh, this is a stunning image. I love the lavender. I love outdoor newborn photography. My critique would be, I would love to see, and again, it's always tricky when we're working with newborns, but I would love to see that little hand tucked in more under the cheek, and I would love to see it's kind of like the sky is a little bit blown out as well. And I would love to, you can always put in a fake sky or even just pull the highlights down a little bit. But I do love this image. It is gorgeous and great job.
Thank you, and we'll head to Jennifer, please.
Yeah, I agree with what Denise has said. I think this is an interesting the maker has done a great job with the story of this image. I think that even cropping off the sky would make this image stronger and perhaps bring out more of the purples in the lavender. I am also seeing some skin tone issues with the baby. The top of the head seems to be, I think there's a bit of a color cast from the grass. It seems to be a bit on the green side. And so just to be careful and watch for those types of things.
Thank you, Jennifer, and we'll head to Tiana, please.
Thank you. Again, it's so lovely, and the scene and the pose, the baby gently sleeping, lends to the overall softness and beauty in the image. All the other things have already been mentioned, so I won't go over those. But the one thing for me would be you know, the kind of the path behind just kind of shoots off at an unusual angle. And I think if the photographer maybe had repositioned themselves a little bit more to the, I'm gonna try and work this out now, but I can't think. But I get the impression they might understand what I mean. Just to keep that kind of leading line, that's the one I was looking for, to the center of the image. It just kind of feels like it leads off to somewhere, and I really want to keep the focus on that precious baby at the front. But otherwise, everything else that has been mentioned are all things that I completely agree with. But well done for creating such a really gorgeous soft image.
Thank you, Tiana. All right. All right, Tiana is heading on a break, and we welcome Jen McNeil in her place. Moving to our next image, titled Sunshine Dreams. And judges, please feel free to enter your scores.
Done.
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 Thank you. And with scores of 76, 77, and 73, this image will have an overall score of 75. And we do have a paid critique here. Let's head to Jennifer Gilbert, please, for feedback for this maker.
Thank you. Lovely job maker on this interesting pose for the baby. Um, Two things that come to mind is that you can tell that it's on a bean bag or something soft. I shouldn't assume what's underneath there. And I would expect the chair to be more sitting on the floor as opposed to something soft. So you can see where the softness is pushing up onto the chair. The second thing is just the baby's face. I know there's a bit of a smile going on there, but if the hand could be tucked under the chin more and the baby's face elevated up that just a little bit more, there wouldn't be that sort of smushing of the cheek, I guess you could call it. But yeah.
Thank you, Jennifer. We will move to Jen McNeil, please. Sorry, Jen, you might be on mute.
So sorry, it was on the wrong screen. So I was agreeing with what Jennifer Gilbert had said. The expression of the baby is so beautiful. What catches my eye as a bit of critique would be the pillow, and that might be fixed if the hands were in a somewhat of a little bit different position, or might actually help the hands be in a different position to see that face more. The pillow kind of bulges out toward the camera and it catches my eye a bit. But very nice coloring. I love the backdrop color with the outfit that this baby has on. The placement of the little booties in front is also so great. So very well overall.
Thank you. And we'll head to Denise, please.
I think that the tones of this image are absolutely gorgeous, and I do have a bit of a rule for myself is it's kind of like if you catch a smile, it kind of, you know, overtakes, other things that we may critique. But since this is a critique, I'm going to take note too of the toes, and it might be on my computer, but they look a little bit out of focus. And I do agree with what both Jen and Jennifer have said about the image. But I do think you did a fantastic job, and I would keep in mind what the others have said about how to make this even better next time. But all around, great job.
Thank you so much. All right, we'll move to our next image, titled Dance of the Wildflowers.
Done.
Done.
Thank you. With scores of 74, 76, and 77, this image will have an overall score of 76. Titled Statue of a Mother.
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 82, 83, and 80, this image will have an overall score of 82, placing it in the silver category. Titled Soft as a Whisper.
Done.
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 Thank you. And with scores of 78, 76, and 81, this image will have an overall score of 78. Titled Mother in Nature.
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 78, 75, and 75, this image will have an overall score of 76. Titled Mum's Flower Girl.
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 78, 80, and 78, this image will have an overall score of 79. All right, our next image is untitled. And judges, please feel free to enter your scores.
Done.
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 Thank you. And with scores of 72, 73, and 70, this image will have an overall score of 72. All right, our next image is titled Vogue.
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 81, 78, and 79, this image will have an overall score of 79. Titled Dreaming in Pearls.
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 81, 78, and 78, this image will have an overall score of 79. We have a paid critique. Let's head to Jennifer McNeil, please, for critique for the maker.
Thank you. Yes,
Oh, Jen, we may have lost your audio.
Sorry about that. Um, Beautiful image. The baby is very well posed. Um, I like how she's curled up and you can see her little fingers. Her lips are very relaxed. Um, the background is very white, but it doesn't, I don't think it's blown out so much. My one critique would just be to watch the hot spots on the pearls on her head, because those are catching light and look like they might have a little bit of hot spots, but um, beautiful image overall.
Thank you. And let's head to Denise, please.
All right, I think this is gorgeous, and whites are very tricky. I think you nailed these whites. The pose, I think the fingers look great. I agree with Jen too on the highlights on the little beads. Um, there's one thing that I wish I could see was just even just some of the toes. I would love to see maybe some of the toes even tucked in behind the elbow. But that's really my only the only thing I'd like to add. But overall, gorgeous work.
Thank you. And we'll head to Jennifer Gilbert, please.
It's all been said for me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all. Our next image is titled The Sweetest Snooze.
Done.
Done.
Thank you. With scores of 71, 74, and 74, this image will have an average score of 73. And we have a page critique. Let's head to Denise, please, for feedback.
Absolutely. This image is beautiful. I know I really love the styling, the tutu, um, and of course it's just a stunning baby as well. So my critique, I'm noticing that there are some blown out highlights in the headband, so that's a bit tricky when it comes to working with whites. But definitely keep an eye on that next time. And I would love to see the baby's hand more under the cheek. And that's just one of those common things. And in our work, it's just all those little details that make the beautiful end result. And I would also maybe love to see some little toesies if that's possible. And that's my my critique and all around beautiful work.
Thank you. We'll head to Jennifer Gilbert.
Thank you. Yes, this is a lovely image of this newborn. I noticed the flower of the headband as well, and I would love to see that hand under the cheek a bit more so that the eye that is closest to the fabric is not being pulled away, or not pulled away, but pulled down towards the fabric. Additionally, if the top right hand part of the image, there does seem to be a bit of banding there, so please be careful with that. But yeah, overall, nice job and keep up the good work.
Thank you. And we'll head to Jen McNeil, please.
I agree with everything that's been said. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. And we will move to the next image titled Peaceful Glow.
Done.
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 With scores of 82, 74, and 74, this image will have an overall score of 77. Again, we have a paid critique. We'll head to Jennifer Gilbert, please, for feedback for the maker.
Thank you. Again, this lovely image of this baby. I wish I was snoozing so peacefully when I sleep. A couple things to note is the skin does seem to be underexposed. You're getting a lot of sort of redness and muddiness in the cheek, the forehead, and a little bit into the hand. Also, there is just a bright spot on the wrap, sort of more over to the left. It's quite a bit brighter than the rest of the image, and you want the baby's face to be the brightest part of the image.
Thank you. And we'll head to Jen McLean, please. Or sorry, Jen McNeil.
Thank you. Yeah, I hadn't noticed the wrap, but I see that. But with the exposure on the face, I actually, I kind of, I think that's what I was drawn to, was that it was a little underexposed, and with the tones of the colors that were used for the wrap and the bonnet, it just, to me, it looked like more natural, less edited. Um, and that's what drew me into it. I love the hair and the eyelashes on the baby, and there's not much I would critique, except I am seeing that same bright spot now.
Thank you. And we'll head to Denise, please.
Okay, so yeah, this image is so beautiful. It's so soft. I do agree with Jennifer with it being a little bit underexposed, but again, it does suit the. I do find it does suit the image, um, and just a little micro detail. I would love to see the bonnet ties maybe on the other side, and but all around, I do love this angle. I love just yeah, I really do love this image, and I agree with what the other ladies have said about this image. So well done.
Can we pause for a second?
Yes, just a moment. All right, moving to our next image titled The Simple Things.
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 85, 83, and 80, this image will have an overall score of 83, placing it in the silver category. Our next image is titled Joy.
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 79, 74, and 79, this image will have an overall score of 77. Titled Snake Year.
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 85, 81, and 79, this image will have an overall score of 82, placing it in the silver category. Titled Wrapped in Time.
Done.
Done.
Thank you. With scores of 78, 77, and 79, this image will have an overall score of 78. titled Carrying a Dream.
Done.
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 And with scores of 81, 77, and 77, this image will have an overall score of 78. Titled The Heart of a Hero.
Done.
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 With scores of 80, 86, and 81, this image will have an overall score of 82, placing it in the silver category. And we will head to Jen McNeil, please, for feedback for this maker.
Thank you. This is a beautiful image. The title obviously plays well with the story that's being told here, with Dad obviously having, something going on with his heart, and then bringing in the baby. I love the baby's expression and eyes staring at the camera while the parents are very much in love over here. Just a beautiful image overall. I would just watch the highlights. Maybe Dad's collar is a little bit bright, but other than that, I don't see anything really.
Thank you, Jen. And we'll move to Denise, please.
I actually, yeah, I really felt something when I saw this image. You can just see they're so genuine. They're just so authentic and it's just stunning. And you can really see the journey that they've had as a family. And the fact that, he obviously had, major heart surgery and they have a little miracle baby with them. It's just stunning. I actually don't have anything else that I could really add in a critiquing way. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Very well done.
Thank you. And we'll head to Jennifer Gilbert, please.
Yeah, the impact on this image was really high for me, and you can, obviously the story is there for sure. Couple things, just I'd like to see a little more separation from the background. They just like a little hair light or something back there would help with that. And just watch some of the shadows are just a little bit muddy. But overall, a lovely story and a lovely image. Yeah.
Thank you, Jennifer. All right, we'll move to our next image, titled Pure Love.
Done.
Done.
Thank you. With scores of 78, 80, and 77, this image will have an overall score of 78. Titled A Little Girl with Big Plans.
Done.
Um,
Done.
Thank you. With scores of 83, 81, and 75, this image has an overall score of 80, placing it in the silver category. Our next image is titled Finally at Last.
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 79, 77, and 79, this image will have an overall score of 78. Titled Once Upon a Dream.
Done.
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 All right, and with scores of 80, 86, and 75, this image will have an overall score of 80, placing it in the silver category. We do have a greater than 10-point spread here, and we will head to Denise first, please, in the benefit of the maker.
I honestly, my jaw dropped. It's just so rich, the tones, the pose, um, the highlights on the baby's face, the styling, the baby's breath elements on in the image and also in the headband. I yeah, I'm honestly just in love with this image, and so that is why I gave it a pretty high mark of 86.
Thank you, and we will head to Jennifer, please, for critique.
Yeah, I agree with what Denise was saying. It is a lovely pose and the story behind the image is quite nice. Where it brought it down for me is the lighting on the face is just so incredibly strong. The nose is actually almost the brightest part of the entire image. The little posts on the back of the bed are very bright. My eye went there as well. And the skin tone feels a little too warm. So yeah, those are the elements that brought it down for me.
All right, and we will head back to Denise, please, for rebuttal.
I definitely see what Jennifer is saying about the highlights being fairly strong and the posts standing out. I do see that. However, I definitely still, I still have this kind of the same feelings, but I do understand what Jennifer is saying as well.
All right, thank you, ladies. And we'll rescore the image at this time.
Done.
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 And with scores of 80, 84, and 77, this image will have an overall score of 80, placing it in the silver category. All right. Our next image is titled Cocoon.
Done.
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 Sorry, and with scores of 76, 74, and 77, this image will have an overall score of 76. Titled, Are You Talking to Me?
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 76, 77, and 81, this image will have an overall score of 78. Titled Tiny Treasure.
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 79, 77, and 75, this image will have an overall score of 77. And we have a paid critique. We'll go to Denise, please, for critique.
All right, so yeah, I love this image. It is beautiful. I love the pose. I love the sleepiness, and I actually really like the angle too. But for my critique is I can see a little bit of something kind of going on with the skin tone just a little bit. Like it might be a little bit cool, and I would like to see more of like the little blankie that's kind of behind his bottom. But honestly, I think you did a very beautiful job.
Thank you. And we'll head to Jennifer, please.
Yeah, I agree. This is a lovely image of this baby sleeping. I would really enjoy if there was more in focus in this image. I don't mind the focus falling off towards the, bottom half of the body, but that little teddy bear and the hands of the baby being in focus would really pull this image up, in addition to the skin tone issue that Denise mentioned.
Thank you. And we'll head to Jen, please.
I agree with what's been said. Definitely would be nice to see that teddy bear in focus. The hand placement around the teddy bear, however, is so nice and relaxed. He looks relaxed overall, so it's a beautiful image, but I agree with all the critique.
All right. Thank you all. Our next image is titled The Precious Gem.
Done.
Done.
Thank you. With scores of 82, 81, and 88, this image will have an overall score of 84, placing it in the silver category.
I'd like to challenge that, see if we can bring this up a bit.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. So we will move into a challenge for this image, and we'll head to Jennifer, please, in the benefit of the maker first.
Thank you. This is a really well done image. The title of the precious gem, the model reminds me of a, like, not a ruby, but not a sapphire, but something in between. I don't know. Maybe an amethyst. I don't know my gems all that well, but she is definitely a gem. The lighting is well done on the body, the background with the sort of star-like or sort of fairy dust or whatever you want to call it, just really adds into the image. The reflection onto the ground is, perfectly aligned with the model, and the hair is well done. The treatment is just really, really wonderful, and I just really think this image should move up to the Silver Distinction Award category.
Thank you, Jennifer. And we will head to Denise, please, for critique.
I think this is stunning. I actually do agree with increasing the points. I'm more than in agreement with that. And for all the same reasons that Jennifer said. Yeah, I don't really have any. I actually don't have any critique. So.
Thank you, Denise, and we'll head back to Jennifer.
I think I'm good if Denise is thinking of coming up.
Yeah, all right, and we will rescore the image at this time, please.
Done.
Done.
Thank you. And with scores of 85, 86, and 88, this image now has an overall score of 86, placing it in the silver distinction category. Congratulations to this maker, and thank you, ladies, for a lovely challenge. All right, and Denise is heading on a break, and we welcome back Tiana for our next image. Titled In My Happy Place.
Done.
Done.
Sorry, I said done.
All right, and with scores of 73, 80, and 78, this image will have an overall score of 77. Our next image is titled Sweetest Dreams.
Done.
Done.
And with scores of 79, 78, and 78, this image will have an overall score of 78. Titled Afternoon Nap.
Done.
Done.
Thank you. And with scores of 79, 79, and 82, this image will have an overall score of 80, placing it in the silver category. Titled Waiting Together.
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 80, 82, and 82, this image will have an overall score of 81, placing it in the silver category. We have paid critique on this one. Let's head to Tiana, please, for feedback for the maker.
I think this is such a beautiful image and what a really precious moment between a mother and her daughter, and obviously her unborn. When I look at this image, I think the focus is exactly where it needs to be, which is right down here, where their little embrace is, and then you've got the bump at the top. But as I look across the whole image, I feel like it's a little bit tight in the frame, and I think just that little bit more room would give it a bit more space, but still keep the focus exactly where it needs to be. The other thing I think I would probably try to give more consideration to is maintaining the skin tones. So we've got the bump, which is nice and bright at the top, but then we have some kind of really warm reds and oranges across Mom's chest and her arm as well. And then I think, if I'm not mistaken, just near the bump by her thigh, it just looks a little bit smudgy, and I don't know if that's a retouching issue or if it's just, you know, skin smoothing or something. But it does draw my eye, and because the bump is a bit bright, it's hard to ignore, if that makes sense. So I feel like they're really minor things, but I think it's a beautiful moment that's been captured here. So well done.
Thank you, Tiana, and we'll head to Jennifer Gilbert, please.
Yeah, this is a beautiful, beautiful moment captured here. And good job to the maker for catching it. Um, the only thing I have to add to what Tiana mentioned is I would just move the mother's hair a little closer to her. I wouldn't put it right on the shoulder, but just move it over a little bit. I'm actually enjoying the crop. I think it's quite good. But I agree with, I think the belly does need to be toned down and that hand needs to be toned down a little bit.
Thank you. And we'll head to Jen McNeil, please.
Thank you. I agree with what's been said mostly. The crop for me, I do agree that it could be give a little more space. Where I focus was up on the belly and then her legs, which I thought we were only seeing one. And I zoomed in a bit and realized that the other leg, there's a tattoo right there, so it kind of looks like an extension of the gown. And I would be curious to see how that might um, look a little different, or if that would read differently to me if there was a little more space up there, or if the gown was tucked under her legs, so we could definitely see that it was a leg and not an extension of the fabric. But it's a beautiful connection. The lighting on their faces is great, and a great overall shot.
Thank you so much. Our next image is titled Brotherhood in Bloom.
Done.
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 Thank you. And with scores of 74, 82, and 76, this image will have an overall score of 77. All right, and this is a paid critique. Let's head to Jennifer Gilbert, please, for feedback.
Thank you. This is a lovely image of these brothers. They're also happy and they're excited to be in this picture, which is great. What I wanted to point out was just to watch the skin tones. There is a bit of a greenness to all of them. And the other thing I'd like to just point out, I know that it's they're in the flower bed, the flower patch, whatever you want to call that. But these red flowers to the right of the image are something's going on with them. They look like there's artifacting through them, so they almost look like they're actually not part of the scene. I can see that they are just I can't quite put my finger on how to describe it, but it's distracting from the image.
Thank you, and we'll head to Jen McNeil, please.
Thank you. Yeah, I love the smiles in this photo. I do agree that the red roses are a bit distracting and what caught my eye. The other thing that I noticed is that most of the boys are not looking at the camera, and that's what lent me to give a lower score. But I like the composition of the boys, like how they are arranged is really nice. And it's definitely a very cheerful image.
Thank you, and we'll head to Tiana next.
Lovely. All the things have been mentioned already, but I just want to congratulate the maker on getting all of them looking so happy. Maybe baby, not quite, but that's fair enough, you know. You can't always control the littlest one's emotions. But it's a lovable image. My feedback would be to when you're doing kind of a family session like this, wherever possible, especially when you're choosing images for competition, is just to kind of think about things like eyes being open if you can. Um, and I know they're all kind of smiling and being kind of joyous and in the moment, but the tallest boy looks like he might have actually been blinking rather than mid-smile, if that makes sense, if you compare him to one of the other boys on the right-hand side. The other thing would be I love the connection between them, but wherever possible, trying to think about posing. So if the young boy on the right hand side was maybe linking arms or leaning on the other sibling rather than reaching for the baby, it might have opened up space a little bit more for that boy in the middle. So he's not kind of just falling back into the image. But ultimately, it's lovely, and the focus is exactly where it should be. And if we ignore all the other elements that were shared, it's a really happy image, and I'd be pleased with that as a mom of well, I have 3 girls, but I know how hard it can be as a parent. So I think the photographer did a great job.
And thank you so much. Our next image is titled Complete.
Done.
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 Thank you. And with scores of 74, 79, and 74, this image will have an overall score of 76. And our next image is titled Ethereal Bloom.
Done.
Done.
And with scores of 79, 72, and 83, this image will have an overall score of 78. We do have a greater than 10-point spread. So we will head to Jennifer, please, in the benefit of the maker first.
Yes, thank you very much. This image had a lot of impact on me. I thought just it was really well done. The lighting is very nice on the face and the body, perhaps a little hot on the fingers, but overall, it's just a very nice story to this image and just very well done. Even the smoke around the person is not blown out. You can see the details everywhere. There's detail in the shadow, there's detail in the highlights, and yeah, just technically very well done image and great story to it.
Thank you so much. And we'll head to Tiana, please.
Thank you. I do agree. There are some things to like about the image. I think that the lighting on her face is lovely. For me, I struggled with the concept. The holding of the lamp, the title, Ethereal Bloom, the tulle on the dress flowing at the back, the smoke. I'm really struggling to kind of understand the story. I feel like there's a lot of different ways that this could go. And all credit to the maker of the image. It feels like they were exploring their kind of creative ability. But ultimately for me, I don't know which direction that they were going in. Sometimes the titles can really help us to kind of see or understand what the purpose of the image is, and for me it didn't marry up. And equally with the hot highlights on her fingers. I think there's room to execute this idea a little bit better. But ultimately, you've got a lovely image of a mom here, and she looks really like relaxed and pleasant, which is good. The only other thing that stands out to me, I think, is and it's probably a religious element, the red, I think it's like a bangle or a thread on her arm. again, because it's red on the green, it stands out to me. So yeah, I just think all the different bits didn't quite come together on this occasion. But well done for putting the image forward.
Thank you, and we'll head back to Jennifer for rebuttal.
Thank you. When I think about the word ethereal, I think of things that are sort of immaterial, intangible, spiritual, those types of things. So that's where the story really falls into place for me. And again, I've already mentioned all of the other elements that I've talked about, but again, I just think that we're at a 78 right now. I think that it deserves to come up to at least a silver award for the creativity, for the thought, for the technical excellence in it. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, we will rescore this image at this time.
Done.
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 And with scores of 80, 72, and 83, this image will have a score of 78. Our next image is titled Pastel Perfection.
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 80, 79, and 78, this image will have an overall score of 79. Our next image is titled Sweet Princess.
Done.
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 Thank you. And with scores of 73, 70, and 73, this image has an overall score of 72. Titled Tucked In.
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 76, 79, and 76, this image will have an overall score of 77. Our next image is titled Main Mama.
Done.
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 Thank you.
I don't know what happened.
Jen, if you can
Okay.
just click.
Yeah,
save.
I clicked save.
Thank you. And with scores of 87, 78, and 80, this image will have an overall score of 82, placing it in the silver category. Our next image is titled The Source of Life.
Done.
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 And with scores of 83, 79, and 86, this image will have an overall score of 83, placing it in the silver category. And this image is a paid critique image. Let's head to Tiana first, please.
Thank you. This image is really, really lovely, and I just love the tones. I think they're really soft, and beautiful, and that lends to the style of the image. Um, Now, really, really like the water effect. It shows off her curves, and again, that kind of feeds back into the softness of the image overall. For me, I would have loved to have put it in the Silver Award category, but what held me back was what feels like an overlay. Um, it looks like it's been masked away from her face because we want to see her face, and that's absolutely fine. Um, but I think it kind of takes away from the realness that I initially felt when I saw the image. And then when you kind of look across all of it, um, you can see kind of where bits have been left in, and it kind of takes away from kind of the naturalness that I initially felt when I looked at it. Um, so I think when creating images like this, to try and consider kind of all of the kind of elements that you want to put together, to try and keep a general consistency across the whole image so that it all sits nicely together. But otherwise, I think it's really, really beautiful. And I can actually see it kind of on a wall or something. So well done.
Thank you so much. And we'll head to Jennifer Gilbert, please.
Thank you. This is a stunning, stunning image. The title, the story, the source of life, the focal point of the image is actually at her breast versus her stomach, her belly, sorry. There's two sources of life here, but obviously the breastfeeding being a source of life, and they've really captured that well in this image. I am enjoying everything about this image. I enjoy the softness, the gray tones. I'm curious to see what it would be like with her entire face in the image, but it doesn't distract me at all, but having only seen, partially of her face. So this is very, very well done. I don't really have anything else to say against the image at all. So
Thank you, Jennifer. And we will head to Jen McNeil, please.
I love this. Everything that was said, I agree with. I personally really like the crop. I find it's not easy to do when you're like just the angle of her face, that it's including one whole eye and the other one isn't weird partially there like that. I think it's done really well. My only very picky critique would be that the strap on the dress closest to the camera is a little bit bright, but that's nitpicking. It's beautiful overall.
Thank you so much. Our next image is titled Grandpa's Legacy.
done.
Done.
Thank you. And with scores of 79, 84, and 78, this image will have an overall score of 80, placing it in the silver category. Titled Spring Festival.
Done.
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 Sorry, was that all three?
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you. With scores of 80, 84, and 77, this image will have an overall score of 80, placing it in the silver category.
I'd like to challenge that, please.
All right, and we will move to a challenge for this image. And we'll head to Tiana first, please, in the benefit of the maker.
Thank you. Um, I really enjoyed this image, you know. I love the red tones. I love how the vine is gently wrapped around. It kind of comes around in a circle and then leads you to the baby. So I thought that was really well done. Um, yeah, I don't know, something about it. I really liked it. I enjoyed it. I love the tones, the colors. I thought it was put together well. The baby's wrapped and happy. And the lighting on the face is really nice.
Thank you, and we'll head to Jennifer, please, for critique.
Thank you. I enjoy this image as well. I think the story is very well done, but there are some technical issues that we need to look at. The fur on the hat, the like right at the forehead area, like the brim of it is quite hot, almost blown out. I would even say a little bit blown out right in the middle of the hat. To the left of the image, there is some color banding that's going on from about the center of the image out. And actually, I'm seeing it on the right side as well. A number of these berries are very out of focus. And I know that's probably a depth of field issue. But it would be nice to see those berries actually in focus, as well as the basket that the baby's in. I find the baby's face extremely bright, probably overly bright than it should be. And that hand as well. That hand definitely needs to be toned down. And for those reasons, it's why I scored it lower.
Thank you, and we'll head back to Tiana, please, for rebuttal.
Yeah, I do see all of those points. And the score that I gave was very much focused on the baby, and as I do look around, I can see the banding and things like that. Um, it's the score's 80, so I don't feel personally that changing my score it would drop a category, and I don't necessarily feel that um is appropriate at this time. Um, but I do take your comments on board. I see that. Um, so yeah, I think I'll leave it there.
Thank you, and we will rescore the image at this time.
Can I
Done.
pause for a quick question?
Of course, just a moment. All right, sorry. Our judging panel asked for confirmation on banding in the image and on review of the high resolution file. It does not appear that there's obvious banding in the image. So sometimes when looking at a smaller version, we try to give the highest resolution image we can in our judging portals, but it doesn't compare to review of the full resolution file. So our judges sometimes ask for review. So please feel free to rescore the images at this time.
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 78, 84, and 75, this image will have an overall score of 79. Our next image is titled Scottsdale Mama Golden Hour.
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 78, 73, and 77, this image will have an overall score of 76. Titled Sweet Dreams.
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 83, 77, and 78, this image will have an overall score of 79. Titled Mama's Whole World.
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 76, 84, and 77, this image will have an overall score of 79. Titled Little Miss Sunshine.
Done.
Done.
And with scores of 79, 78, and 80, this image will have an overall score of 79.
So I'd like to challenge this image, see if we can bring it up.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. We will head to you first, please, in the benefit of the maker.
For sure. Really enjoying the story of this image. Such a cute little baby in the bowl. The color harmony is so well done throughout the whole image with the matching outfit to the headband. I mean, I think even its hair is a little bit orange too, which is fantastic. But the lighting is really the lighting is very well handled. There's no bright highlights, there's no dark spots. The skin tones are nice and even throughout the whole image, and even the backdrop or the background is great, is very well handled, and I'd like to see this at least go silver.
All right, thank you. And we'll head to Tiana, please, for critique.
Yeah, thank you. It is a lovely image. And as you mentioned, there are a couple of things to like about it. I really struggled to see anything that would make me feel like it really should sit confidently in the Silver Award category. I think I would have liked to have seen a little bit more kind of depth in the image. To me personally, it feels a little bit flat. Again, Little Miss Sunshine, I mean, she's adorable, and who wouldn't want to think that when they see this face? But I didn't see the connection with the title and the styling. I didn't think of sunshine when I looked at kind of the headdress, as you mentioned. It looks more like maybe like a flower to me, or something. But again, it's lovely. But I think there could just be that little bit more kind of something that it's missing for me that I didn't feel was there, so I don't feel I could award it more points.
Thank you, Tiana. We'll head back to Jennifer for rebuttal.
Thank you, Tiana, for your thoughts there. I see this darling baby dressed as a sunflower, and a sunflower needs sunshine. And that child's face to me is like the sunshine. So that's where the Little Miss Sunshine is coming from, and that's where the title pulls into the story. And again, just all those other things I've already mentioned. Technically this is very well handled, and I'd just like to see it go up.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. And we will rescore this image at this time.
Can we pause for a quick sec?
Sure. All right, please let me
Done.
know when you're ready.
Done.
Done.
Thank you. And with scores of 79, 78, and 82, this image will now have an overall score of 80, placing it in the silver category. Our next image is titled Summer Breeze.
Done.
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 And with scores of 80, 82, and 78, this image will have an overall score of 80, placing it in the silver category. And our next image is titled Fiery Goddess.
Done.
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 Thank you. And with scores of 79, 77, and 77, this image has an overall score of 78. Our next image is titled Nap Time in Blue.
Done.
Done.
Thank you. With scores of 73, 74, and 75, this image will have an overall score of 74. We do have a paid critique on this image. We'll head to Denise first, please, for feedback for this maker.
Absolutely. So first off, beautiful job. I'm gonna say that I do love keeping the stork bite in this image, or known as an angel kiss, the little red line or the little red V in the forehead. For my critique, though, I feel like I would like to see those little skin flakes around the eye. I would like to see that cleaned up a little bit. And same with the fingers. I'd love to see them, flattened out. However, I do know that, posing newborns is very challenging, and we don't know how this baby was during the session. But these would be my two things that I would choose to do for next time. But all around, beautiful work.
Thank you, Denise. We'll head to Jen, please.
Thank you. Yes, the baby is nice and relaxed, which is lovely for this image. My critique is that I feel the skin is a little bit bright, and the light is clearly coming from the left side of the image, and it's a little hot underneath the baby's face in that corner, the white blanket, and that might be what's creating the uplight on at least that first nostril, is a little bit bright. So I would work on that, maybe position the light a little bit higher so it's coming down the face.
Thank you. And we will head to Tiana, please.
Um, Again, I agree with the comments that have already been made by my fellow judges. It's a very cute, relaxed baby. Um, the one thing I think that hasn't been mentioned, because I don't want to say what's already been said, is I just feel the crop is a little bit tight, and my impression is that the maker wanted to kind of draw our attention to this gorgeous baby's face, and you've done that beautifully. But don't be afraid to give an image a little bit more room. You kind of just crop the bottom of that tiny elbow there and the top of the hat. So it's just more about being intentional with where you're kind of cropping and bringing in an image, because there are ways that you can still keep the focus on the baby without kind of taking out tiny details, which kind of feels a little bit like an oversight. But overall, well done. As everybody's already said, it's really difficult posing newborn babies, and to get a sleeping, relaxed baby for long enough to capture any images in a session is always a bonus. So well done.
Thank you. Our next image is titled In My Mother's Arms.
Done.
Done. I'm also done.
Thank you. And with scores of 78, 79, and 78, this image will have an overall score of 78. Titled Among the Wildflowers.
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 79, 82, and 78, this image will have an overall score of 80, placing it in the silver category. Titled Love at First Sight.
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 84, 76, and 78, this image will have an overall score of 79. All right, and we have a paid critique on this one. Let's head to Jennifer, please, for feedback for this maker.
I think this is a beautiful image. It's clearly in the hospital. I like that you can tell, but it's also not distractingly in the hospital, if that makes sense. I can just see a little curtain that I know is indicative of being in the hospital. I absolutely love that the baby is looking up at dad, and the hand grip. Like, this is just such, I mean, classic first moments. Love at First Sight is a beautiful title for it. If I had one critique I would suggest is in the background, it would be interesting to see just how it would change the image if those, through the window, there seems to be something that's a little less bright than the rest of it. So if those little spots, it looks like sort of an oval shape, and then in the top corner, if those were edited to be removed, I think that would give it a cleaner look overall. But beautiful image.
Thank you, and we'll head to Tiana next.
Yeah, I love the title, Love at First Sight, and the fact that they're both gazing at each other is just gorgeous. It's clearly very early moments after this newborn baby's arrival. So it's lovely to see that. It's different kind of from the typical sort of newborn photography that we often get to enjoy. Again, I feel don't be afraid to give an image a little bit more room. There are ways that you can still kind of keep the focus where it needs to be, and it absolutely is on dad and baby. That's not difficult to see that. But again, I feel the crop is just a bit too tight. So to really take the time to think about cropping as a way of, how you present your image, particularly in competition. The just cropping at the top of dad's head and the elbow just kind of feels like it's kind of forgotten, which is understandable because again, you've got this gorgeous moment and you wanted to capture that, so well done. And then I think the other elements were mentioned already, so I don't want to go over those. But well done for entering.
Thank you, and we'll head to Denise.
I think this image is an absolute treasure. The eye contact with the baby with the dad and the little finger holding is a very rare kind of image to get, especially given the settings in a hospital. So, you nailed it. And I do agree with what Tiana and Jen have shared as well. But so I don't really have any more to add for critique, but I did just want to comment on just how stunning and how much emotion is in this photo. It's just very special and very well done.
Thank you so much. Our next image is titled Heaven in Her Eyes.
Done.
Done.
Thank you. With scores of 78, 78, and 76, this image has a total score of 77. Titled Timeless Grace.
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 81, 79, and 80, this image has an overall score of 80, placing it in the silver category. And this image is a paid critique. We'll head to Denise first, please.
Oh, I'd love to. I this image stopped me in my tracks. I love the warm, beautiful tones of the skin, how the light is hitting. Of course, the mom is absolutely gorgeous on top of it. I love the whites. They're very crisp, but from what I can see is that it does not look blown out. The pose, it's just effortless. It's timeless. It's classic. I love the mom's hair in a bun too. Like when, we could have had it out and more dramatic, but we kept the simplicity here. So yeah, I actually don't really have anything to personally critique on this. So I'll leave it to the other ladies if they have anything to say about that. But yeah, kudos to this stunning image.
Thank you. And we will go to Tiana next.
Thank you so much. I completely agree with Denise's feedback. It's so gorgeous. She just looks graceful, doesn't she? She's just loving like her pregnancy and she's so relaxed and just basking in this gorgeous light. Um, for me, I do feel like there's a little bit of like artifacting sometimes when you use like actions or you're kind of playing with the sliders in either Lightroom or Photoshop, you kind of get this area where the blending between the tones on the skin they're not as smooth. And you can just see that where the transition from like highlight to shadow on her arm. So it's just to be aware of things like that. And it's a real shame because, you know, this image is really, really beautiful. But otherwise, I think the lighting is done beautifully. She's clearly very relaxed, very comfortable and confident in front of the camera. And you can definitely see that on her face, her expressions, just beautiful. So well done.
Thank you. And we'll head to Jen, please.
Thank you. I know Denise said it, but I really love the hair. We see so much hair down. This was really refreshing, and it does go with that like effortless look that is going on here. Just I grabbed a sheet and I'm just gorgeous. I love how her skin is lit. Like there's almost, you know, there's a bright spot on her shoulder, but I kind of love that. It's just like she's glowing and radiant. Um, I see what Tiana is saying about the artifacting on the arm. I didn't catch that at first. That would be the only thing. So nothing else to add as far as critique. It's a beautiful image.
And thank you so much.
You're a photographer, so you're also a marketer, an accountant, and a salesperson. You're a designer, a web developer, and social media manager, a shopper, a shipper, and a customer support department. You're also a husband, a wife, a mom, a dad, which makes you about a million other things. But don't worry, you've got this. With ShootProof, you can send your clients their digital contract, create an invoice for them to pay, take your beautiful photos, upload them to ShootProof from Lightroom or from your desktop while you eat dinner. Rest assured, your marketing is handled with automated emails to your clients. They ooh, they ah, they cry a little. They favorite hundreds of images and purchase digitals as well as prints and canvases filled automatically by your favorite lab. You send your clients a mobile app as a thank you, and they share it with all of their friends. Wake up tomorrow, and your day is already a little brighter. It's time to focus on what matters most, and let ShootProof do the rest.
All right, welcome back to everyone. This is the second round of judging for our second annual APNPI International Image Competition. Right now on our judging panel, we have Denise Jackson, Tamarin Spender, and Jennifer Gilbert with us to judge for the next while. Tiana will be joining once we put a judge on break. So we'll move right along into our next image. And this image is titled Twinning. Judges, please feel free to enter your scores.
Done.
Done.
All done.
Thank you. And with scores of 84, 84, and 81, this image will have an overall score of 83, placing it in the silver category. All right, our next image is titled Sleeping Bunny.
Done.
Done.
All done.
Thank you. And with scores of 84, 86, and 82, this image will have an overall score of 84, placing it in the silver category. All right, so we just took a quick pause in our recording, discussing whether or not we had any SOOC images behind the scenes for this setup, being that baby is posed in an upright position here, and we do require those images. So some of the conversation that we had was around, you know, the safety course that we offer at APNPI and what is instructed there. And then also some of our judges pointed out the positioning of baby and that it appears, if you know you made some assumptions, that there is likely support for this baby in this pose. Because it's very unnatural that a baby could support themselves here without core strength. And so I do agree with all of those components. We will ask this maker to provide an SOOC to avoid disqualification out of the image competition round, and confident that those can be provided. So for anyone watching who's unfamiliar, at APNPI, we require any image with the potential for injury to the baby in a precarious kind of a pose to be accompanied by straight out of camera imagery that demonstrates safety principles, such as hands-on support that can then be edited out of the image, rather than allowing babies to balance independently. Okay, do any of the judges have anything they want to add there?
No, I think you said everything that we were thinking.
Fantastic, thank you. Just didn't want to speak for the panel without giving you a chance to also chime in. All right, and we will move to our next image. Titled Tranquility in Blue.
Done.
Done.
All done.
Thank you. And with scores of 72, 78, and 78, this image will have an average score of 76. Again, we'll have to go back to this maker and make sure that we have a spotter available in this image through SOC. Our next image is titled Mamacita.
Done.
Done.
All done.
Thank you. And with scores of 79, 75, and 74, this image will have an overall score of 76. Our next image is titled Little Boy Blue.
All done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 75, 78, and 75, this image will have an overall score of 76. We do also require the SOOC for this image, and this image is a paid critique. Let's please start with Tamarind for some feedback for this maker.
So I really like the thought behind the styling and posing here. This is definitely not always an easy pose to do with baby. The things that held it back for me were that we have more light on the top of baby's head than on baby's sort of eye area. There's a little bit too much shadow there for me. And while I love the blues and the different textures, I found it a little bit distracting having that larger piece of fabric under the foot. It sort of that drew my eye first instead of the baby.
Thank you, Tamarind, and we will head to Jennifer, please.
Thank you. Yes, I am really enjoying this image as well. It's, you know, the pose is nicely done. I do feel like the baby's foot doesn't feel as relaxed as it could quite be. Also, just a note to the maker, make sure you're cleaning up certain things. Like there's some small strings hanging off the sort of blue plaid blanket onto the floor, you know, and then maybe even have pushed over the, I don't even know what you call it, but the softer, I guess it's coming from the braided knit blanket, but you've pushed it over so you could see the one side of the bed there. I think that would really help out. And also just on the other side, just to tuck in all those little strings. You really want to have polished, everything polished when you're doing images for competition.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. We'll go to Denise.
All right. Yeah, I agree with the other critiques. I do love this image. You did a very beautiful job, and this pose is not an easy one to accomplish. But my critique would be, I want to see the fingers more under the cheek of the baby. The hand is kind of stuffed in under the cheek a little. I would like to see some fingers, and be mindful because I noticed that the foot is almost ahead of the baby's face, like regarding the focal plane. Um, but you know, it's when it comes to our art, it's just a ton of tiny little details to create that beautiful polished result. So I can see that you're definitely well on your way, and great job.
Thanks so much, ladies. All right, moving to our next image titled Pretty in Purple.
All done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 77, 74, and 79, this image will have an overall score of 77. Titled Warrior Mother.
Done.
Done.
All done.
Thank you. With scores of 79, 83, and 78, this image will have an overall score of 80, placing it in the silver category.
I'd like to challenge that.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. We will head to the benefit of the maker first, please, and hear from Tamarind.
I actually really, this is, as we all know, or as a lot of us know, this is also not an easy pose to do with a pregnant mom. I think overall her body looks great. There's a couple things that I would definitely adjust, like her breast that's closest to the ground looks a little squished, which was not my favorite part, but I love that it shows off her tattoos. Her face is clearly visible. And while there are a couple things that I would adjust to elevate this even further, I think it's worthy of being where I put it.
Thank you, Tamarind. We'll head to Jennifer, please.
Thanks. I agree. She's in a lovely pose. But what is bringing it down for me out of the silver award category is a couple of things. So her skin on her legs looks very muddy. The leg that is straight. I would love to see a bit of a bend in it. It just kind of looks awkward where it's placed. Her foot looks almost like it's sort of hanging off of something. I don't know if that's the edge of a bed or whatever, but it does kind of look like it's hanging off. Um, Her face, there's no catch lights in her eyes at all. And just in between the lips is such a dark line there. And I think just a lighting adjustment there would have corrected all of those things. And there's just no separation from the model to the background. So for that reason, I'd like to see it rescored.
Thank you, and we'll head back to Tamarind, please, for rebuttal.
Yep, I can see some of the things that Jennifer is talking about. I'm not seeing the thing with the foot hanging off. I think it's just that it's black paper, and so it's a little bit of a void. And sure, some skin editing could help the legs. I feel like that's a lot of times personal preference and is not something I would personally overly put a lot of, oh, there's a word there. I'm not finding the word. It doesn't affect my judging, I guess, as much as it does for Jennifer.
All right, thank you. At this time, we will rescore this image.
Done.
Done.
Thank you. And with scores of 79, 81, and 77, this image will have an overall score of 79. Moving to our next image, titled Sweet Dreams Among the Flowers.
Done.
Done.
All done.
Thank you. With scores of 78, 75, and 78, this image will have an overall score of 77. And again, we will ask for SOOC. Titled Lily and a Rose.
Done.
All done.
Say, done.
Thank you. With scores of 78, 74, and 77, this image will have an overall score of 76. Titled A Mother's Love.
All done.
Done.
Thank you. With scores of 75, 72, and 76, this image will have an overall score of 74. We do have a paid critique on this image, and we will head to Jennifer, please, for feedback.
Thank you. This is a lovely image of mother and daughter, and I know that the client would be overwhelmingly happy with this. What I'd like to talk about is the connection with the camera, which the daughter has, but the mother doesn't. And I find her looking down instead of looking at the camera, that it just creates a bit of a disconnect. I mean, otherwise, like, your lighting is very well handled. I think you probably could have cropped off the right a bit more to not show so much of the wall. And I'm interested to hear what the other judges say too.
Thank you, and we'll head to Denise, please.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree with Jennifer. The mom would be, this is definitely a keepsake image. It is stunning. And what I do know though is, or what I'm noticing is there's some, the shadows kind of on the wall to camera right. I would maybe add a little bit more fill light there, but I do agree with everything Jennifer said. And I do like the styling a lot. I love the mom's gown and little girl and the connection there. You did so many things right with this image, and I just want to say well done.
Thank you, and we will head to Tamarind, please.
I actually really appreciate how the mom is looking down at the daughter and the daughter's looking at the camera. The things that that sort of threw me off about this image was mainly the background. The boho background didn't really connect for me with the mom's dress, And then the daughter's dress is also doesn't really connect with the mom's dress. While it's the color harmony is there, it's not the style of it does not doesn't work for me. So I think with a different background, even like a plain seamless, I think this would have elevated it for me. Putting the daughter in something a little bit more plain, less less of a dress that looks like it was just purchased at a store, um, would have been great. Because there's sort of this really beautiful connection between the daughter hugging the belly and the mom sort of looking down. So that part I really think is very, very sweet.
Thank you so much. All right, and we'll head to our next image titled Peaceful Journey.
Done.
Sorry, I'll
Thank you. With scores of 88, 84, and 83, this image will have an overall score of 85, placing it in the silver distinction category. Congratulations to this maker. Our next image is titled A Story of Me.
all done.
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 Thank you. And with scores of 75, 70, and 73, this image will have an overall score of 73. And we do have paid critique here. Let's head please to Denise for feedback for this maker.
Absolutely. I totally I love the feeling of this image, how sweet it is, because it's obviously pictures of her in the background that is just so precious. I love it. I just wish that, you know, I feel like it's I would like to see a little more depth, but then I also feel like if there's a little more depth, then it might blur out, you know, with depth of field, blur out the background a little too much, maybe. I don't know. Um, but I do love it. You know, I'm being really picky, I suppose, because I'm trying to find something here. I would totally fix that little piece of hair by her eyebrow. But I honestly, I really love this image. Well done.
Thank you. And we will head to Tamarind, please.
I agree with Denise. The idea behind this image is absolutely amazing. And yeah, also about you know, providing a bit of depth. The thing that mainly held it back for me, a couple things. The blue dress that the little girl is wearing, there's no, I don't know that there's any blue really that stands out in the background. If anything, I would have put her in a more like brown tone to kind of coordinate more with a lot of the brown tones in the background. It would have um, given it some color harmony for me. The catch lights are beautiful in her eyes. I also think it's again because the idea is amazing, but it's very busy. So that was also a distraction. There's so many things to look at. So a very cool idea for just a photo in general. I'm not sure that it's super appropriate for a competition per se.
Thank you. And lastly, we'll head to Jennifer, please.
Thanks. Yes, I agree with my fellow judges. And I also am noticing so if you go to the top center and then over to the right, there's like an oval type frame and there's a small mark on the wall that should have been cleaned up. And the other thing that I'm struggling with is the lighting. You can see the catch light, so the light is over to camera right, but it doesn't seem to be matching. And now that I'm looking at it again, maybe it is. I just feel like the left side of the picture should be a bit darker than it is with the lighting. So I'm struggling with that. But yeah, I agree with everything else that the judges have said, and it's an interesting concept, and encourage the maker maybe to try again with perhaps a few less pictures.
Thank you. We'll move to our next image titled My Blossom.
All done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 84, 84, and 79, this image will have an overall score of 82, placing it in the silver category. Our next image is titled I Scream for Ice Cream.
Done.
Done.
All done.
Thank you. With scores of 78, 84, and 79, this image will have an overall score of 80, placing it in the silver category. Titled In the Secret Garden.
Done.
All done.
Done.
Thank you. With scores of 82, 88, and 80, this image will have an overall score of 83, placing it in the silver category. Titled A Love Worth Fighting For.
All done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 77, 78, and 83, this image will have an overall score of 79. All right. This image is a paid critique. Let's head to Tamarind, please, for feedback.
I mean, this is such a, what's the word? You know, a heart, tugs at the heartstrings, right? That's a lot of work that families that have to go through this do. So I can definitely fully appreciate the sentiment here. The whole image feels a little bit flat to me, so that's what held it back. I find the lines on the floor are distracting from the impact of the needles. The wrap is very good. The heart in the middle, I think, is great. Yeah, it just feels a little flat to me.
Thank you, and we'll head to Jennifer, please.
Thank you. Yes, I absolutely appreciate everything that this family has gone through as well. For me, the lines didn't bother me so much. What I noticed was more some of the needles are not lined up nicely the way the other ones are. So when you're doing competition images, you want to make sure like everything is absolutely perfect when it comes to that. And if you had taken a picture of the needles and then taken a picture of the baby and overlaid them, or done a composite, then all of those needles would have come out sharp as well. And I think that really would have brought the impact of this image up.
Thank you. And we will head to Denise, please.
Thank you. Yeah, I totally agree with Jennifer and Tamarind. I do notice the image is it seems a little bit flat, and I would love to see it a little bit more warmed up because I'm seeing some kind of cool tones in the whites, um, and I always say this: it's every image that we create is like a bazillion tiny details to get that outcome. And so I do agree with the needles needing to be a little straighter. However, I do appreciate how much time you definitely put into setting this up. And it's a very impactful image. It is a very special image. And I all around say you did a beautiful job. The toes look perfect how they're sticking out of the wrap. I love that I'm seeing the little fingers. The edit is stunning. But yeah, I just want to see it just warmed up a little touch and just be very mindful of the little details because they matter. And however, though, it's a stunning image and well done.
Thank you. All right, we'll head to our next image titled Bold Beginnings.
Done.
Done.
Thank you. With scores of 77, 81, and 79, this image will have an overall score of 79. Titled Boss Babe.
Done.
Done.
All done.
Thank you. With scores of 81, 78, and 78, this image will have an overall score of 79. Titled Pouty Perfection.
Done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 76, 78, and 77, this image will have an overall score of 77. We do have a paid critique here. Let's head to Jennifer, please, for feedback for this maker.
Thank you. Good job, maker, on producing this image. The lighting is relatively well handled, although I am seeing some bright spots in the background on the left-hand side of the image. Also, I think the eyes are bothering me just a little bit because they just seem to be so close. I know it's part of the poutiness, but yeah, it's just not sitting well with me.
Thank you, Jennifer. And we'll head to Denise, please.
Thank you. I have to point out, whites are not an easy thing to handle, and I think you did a gorgeous job on the whites. I love that you also made the baby's hair into a bit of a mohawk. I love that detail. The skin tones look really nice. I do agree with Jennifer on a bit of the little white spots kind of in the back too. Just pay attention to that next time. I would love to see more fingers, and on the chin, I would totally clean up those little fuzzies that are kind of peeking up onto the chin. And I know it's not always possible, but I prefer to have the lips closed. But again, it's part of this image, it's part of even the title of the image. So I would say all around well done.
Thank you. And we'll head to Tamarind, please.
I agree with what Denise and Jennifer have said. The only thing I would add is that it's throwing me off that the baby's skin tone, while it's absolutely beautiful and whites are definitely hard, but the background is brighter than the baby. So that's a bit of a distraction for me.
All right, thank you. And I just wanted to add, without speculation on this particular image, that in this pose in particular, we want to be careful not to leave the head compressing on the wrist for too long for a few reasons. Number one, the hands can lose circulation, which you can see resulting in an increase in red or purple within the fingers and hands. And then secondly, oftentimes in this pose, if the baby's thoracic spine, so the upper middle part of the spine, isn't extended enough in the pose, baby can be hunched over their wrists, which can push up under their jawline. So where their tongue is, which will lift up the tongue inside of the mouth, and sometimes that will push the tongue forward slightly, causing those lips to part a bit. It can also occlude an airway if it's pushed up inside of the mouth. Or just, partially occlude an airway. So we do want to be careful in this pose to ensure baby isn't in the pose for a long period of time, that we offer support through hands-on when necessary and alleviate any pressure under the jaw or on the wrists of the baby to, ensure that we're not blocking airways and that we're not cutting off any circulation. All right. We'll move to our next image. Titled Emerald Dreams.
Done.
All done.
Done.
Thank you. With scores of 75, 77, and 79, this image will have an overall score of 77. Titled Angel Baby.
Done.
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 Thank you. And with scores of 76, 78, and 74, this image will have an overall score of 76. Titled Cozy with Teddy.
Done.
Done.
All done.
Thank you. With scores of 78, 77, and 76, this image has an overall score of 77. Titled Siblings.
Done.
All done.
Done.
Thank you. And with scores of 92, 87, and 83, this image will have an overall score of 87, placing it in the silver distinction category. Titled Becoming Mom.
Done.
All done.
Done.
Thank you. With scores of 80, 84, and 82, this image will have an overall score of 82, placing it in the silver category. Titled Baby and the Bears.
Done.
Done.
All done.
Thank you. With scores of 78, 76, and 78, this image will have an overall score of 77. Moving to our next image, titled Sweet Dreams.
All done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 77, 89, and 77, this image has an overall score of 81, currently placing it in the silver category. We do have a greater than 10-point spread for this image, so we will head to Tamarind first, please, in the benefit of the maker.
I obviously very much like this image. I like the lighting. I mean, the highlights are maybe a smidge, they could be toned down just a smidge. The fingers are relaxed, the feet are relaxed. I love the trailing off white in the background. I don't generally like that, but I find that it's not distracting and it's adding a little bit to this image. The baby's got a little bit of a smile. I also know how hard it is to get both feet down like that. So maybe this was done as a composite. If not, kudos to you, because I find there's usually one foot that sticks up somewhere. But yeah, I really enjoyed everything about this image, including the whites look very, very nice. I like the sheerness of the wrap on the baby's skin. It's beautiful.
Thank you. And we'll head to Denise, please, for critique.
All right. Yeah, I do see what Tamarind is saying. And for me, so yeah, I do agree on these gorgeous points. For me, I found the image just felt almost kind of flat, kind of cool, and the highlights were a bit blown out just for my own taste. However, I am and with what Cameron said, it did change my mind about how I'm gonna vote or score this image. So yeah.
All right, thank you. And we'll head back to Tamarind, please, for rebuttal.
I don't have a lot to say. I definitely agree. Like that highlight is just like not even really, it's almost not even to me anyways. I mean, I know we're all looking on different screens, so it doesn't look cool on my screen, but that doesn't, I mean, I'm not looking through Denise's eyes on her screen, so I think that just sort of depends. But yeah, I would, if this was my kid, this image would be like a 20 by 30 in my living room. It's beautiful.
All right, thank you. I can confirm through the file that we don't have any blown highlights right up close, but no blowouts. And we will rescore this image now, please.
Done.
Done.
All done.
Thank you. And with scores of 81, 89, and 77, this image will have an overall score of 82, placing it in the silver category. All right, moving to our next image, titled Born to Shine.
All done.
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 Thank you. And with scores of 80, 78, and 77, this image will have an overall score of 78. Titled Follow the Light.
All done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 77, 74, and 76, this image will have an overall score of 76. Titled Moonlit Dreams.
Done.
Done.
All done.
Thank you. With scores of 77, 78, and 78, this image will have an overall score of 78. Our next image is titled Petals and Pout.
Done.
All done.
Done.
Thank you. With scores of 87, 84, and 76, this image will have an overall score of 82, placing it in the silver category. We do have a greater than 10-point spread. We will go to Denise first, please, in the benefit of the maker.
Absolutely. I scored this one the way I did because it's shockingly gorgeous. The eye contact is insane. The skin tones are beautiful. There's still texture, but it's very polished. The pink styling, the lighting, just I'm obsessed. So yeah, I'd like to hear what the other judge has to say.
All right, thank you. We'll head to Jennifer, please, for critique.
Thank you. This image has wonderful impact, absolutely. What brought it down for me though is a couple of things. The perspective is the other judge used the word shocking, and I'm going to use it too, but to me, it's just like this very large head, and it just seems sort of disproportionate to the sort of the canvas that it's on. The crop is so tight. I would like to have seen some more room there. The left side of the image is very bright, which should have been toned down. And yeah, just those things, and the bright highlight of the nose, just on the bridge of the nose, should have been toned down. Perhaps the eyes brightened up just a little bit, but just pull it back just a little bit more, and I would have scored it higher.
Thank you. And we'll head back to Denise, please, for rebuttal.
Well, sometimes you don't see those things until someone, brings it to my attention. I'm now seeing what you're saying, with the crop. And of course, yeah, the perspective, that you're speaking of, I see that now. So yeah, that definitely, those points definitely, impact my scoring. So yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you. We will rescore at this time.
All done.
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 Thank you. With scores of 85, 84, and 76, this image will have an overall score of 82, placing it in the silver category. Titled Together.
Done.
Done.
Thank you. With scores of 75, 73, and 74, this image will have an overall score of 74. Titled The Little Snowman's Tale.
Done.
Done.
All done.
Thank you. With scores of 73, 72, and 75, this image will have an overall score of 73. Titled Whispers of Innocence.
Done.
Done.
All done.
Thank you. With scores of 81, 82, and 79, this image will have an overall score of 81. Our next image is titled Mother's Love.
Done.
All done.
Done.
Thank you. With scores of 79, 74, and 79, this image will have an overall score of 77. Titled Wild Child.
Done.
Done.
All done.
Thank you. With scores of 76, 72, and 76, this image will have an overall score of 75. All right, we do have a paid critique on this image. Let's head to Denise, please, for feedback.
Absolutely. Uh, I don't know. Can you hear that in the background? I'm so sorry.
No?
Okay, sorry. All right, thank you. I love this. I love the name of this image, and I love the hair light in this little guy's wild hair. It is so cute, and I like how it's lined up with the leading lines, like so it's straight back. It's giving me something to look at in the back. I would love to see more depth on the lavender though. Like I want to see it a little more deeper, but I and maybe like some clouds in the back or cropped in even a little bit more, but I do love this image. Well done.
Thank you, and we'll head to Tamarind, please.
Yeah, I agree with everything Denise said. Some things that held it back for me were um, it feels a little washed out. I would have loved to see more contrast. Maybe even there's something about the sky that's just sort of like a bit of a void. So I'm not sure if bringing the highlights down, if there's anything that would come up from that, or but I love the concept. I love the light in the hair. I think the only other thing that randomly threw me off was the little boy's leg that's up. I know he has a leg there, but I wish we could see it just a little bit more so it didn't look like it had maybe been amputated.
Thank you, Tamarind. We'll head to Jennifer, please.
Thank you. This is such a cute child running through the field. And I agree with what the other judges were saying. The child, I should say, is underexposed, and therefore, you're not getting the skin tones that you should be seeing. I also would encourage the maker to try doing sky replacement. So photograph the sky as it is. I obviously can't assume what the sky looked like that day, but if there was some clouds or even just a blue sky, just to make it a bit more dynamic, and replace it in there, that would be probably really cool looking. And also get rid of, there's like a building at the back. I'm assuming it's a building. Maybe it's part of the hills in the back, but it's just really sticking out both in the center in the image and the right side of the image. And though I found those very distracting. So, good job. Try this again and see what you can do with it.
Thank you, ladies. Our next image is titled Miss Moose.
Done.
Done.
All done.
Thank you. With scores of 78, 82, and 82, this image has an overall score of 81, placing it in the silver category. Again, this is an image where we will ask for behind the scenes to see how this was set up. This image is a paid critique. Let's please head to Tamarind for critique for this maker.
Thanks. I really like the concept here. I like the color harmony. The lighting is pleasant. Some things that held me back were I don't even know how to word this because I'm not sure how I would change the baby's posing in the hammock. Or I would maybe have photographed the hammock and then done like a bum up kind of composite kind of thing. But I love the overall concept. It's very, very cool.
Thank you, Tamarind. We will head to Jennifer, please.
Thanks. I'm enjoying the concept of this image as well. I am finding the baby's face to be a bit on the cool, almost reddish side. So definitely want to just warm that up and maybe just smooth out the skin, especially like the sort of the eye bags under the baby's eyes there. Um, Other than that, it's a really neat concept and yeah, like I am enjoying it. The pillow under the baby's face is a bit distracting though.
Thank you, Jennifer, and we'll head to Denise, please.
Thank you. Being from Alberta, Canada, this would be such a hit here. We have a lot of hunters and, outdoorsy folk that would be requesting this pose every single day. I do love the concept. It's really creative and earthy, and you really did something cool with the antlers because that is, I've been getting those requests and I've not thought to do anything this creative. So yeah, props to that. I do agree with what the others have said for the critiques. The pillow is kind of a little bit of a distraction, but I understand that you needed to do something to keep the baby's head risen up, so that we could see the baby. I do like that I feel like the hammock was also put in place to keep the baby a little more secure, versus just laying her out wrapped in the antlers. So I do like that too. I do think you did a really good job. I love this.
All right, thank you so much. I do believe that brings us to the last image in our submission.
All right, that wraps up day 2 of judging. Thank you to all the judges for their time and their valuable critique that was given. I also want to just commend the makers for entering. It obviously takes a lot of courage. It can be scary to enter, especially for the first time. And we did, after the completion of the judging, notice that there were several new names for makers that had submitted. So thank you very much. We always like seeing that. So to everyone, please feel very proud that you've submitted, and do remember that any image scoring 75 or over is considered an above average image. Those images all qualify for accreditation level. So if you're considering that, you can definitely take that into consideration. And like I said, those are above average images, so you should all be very proud of yourself for anything that's scored over 75. And again, just thank you for entering. We'd love seeing all the images, and thank you so much to everyone. Have a great day.
You're a photographer, so you're also a marketer, an accountant, and a salesperson. You're a designer, a web developer, and social media manager, a shopper, a shipper, and a customer support department. You're also a husband, a wife, a mom, a dad, which makes you about a million other things. But don't worry, you've got this. With ShootProof, you can send your clients their digital contract, create an invoice for them to pay, take your beautiful photos, upload them to ShootProof from Lightroom or from your desktop while you eat dinner. Rest assured, your marketing is handled with automated emails to your clients. They ooh, they ah, they cry a little. They favorite hundreds of images and purchase digitals as well as prints and canvases filled automatically by your favorite lab. You send your clients a mobile app as a thank you, and they share it with all of their friends. Wake up tomorrow and your day is already a little brighter. It's time to focus on what matters most and let ShootProof do the rest.